Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by Too Late BB. There is no second best live YouTube stream to talk about the markets. We were so back as it's so over already. We're going to talk about it on today's show, but first, I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Max, Chef Jackus, and Prometheus' chair, but I know he'll be back on the show, so you need not to worry. We will have Prometheus cooking for you guys on the stream today as well. But before we can start talking about the market, right, because we had obviously this very impulsive move to start the new year, we're kind of pulling back a little bit, despite the fact that equities are just, they're a freight train, right? They won't pull back at all. They're a monster, consolidating at all-time highs. Are they teasing a breakout into a melt-up? Are they teasing a breakdown to finally catch up with crypto? Is it over for crypto, right? Are we about to see a reversal, or are we about to see a slow grind higher to climb the wall of worry? We're going to talk about it on today's show. Before we can do that, I'm going to ask if you guys can smash that like button, slam the like button, super slam that like button. We might make some wrestling jokes on today's stream. We were making them before we went live, but welcome, guys. Like I said, hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. A reminder that we do these shows Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday whenever the New York Stock Exchange is open. But without further ado, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show, the content, what you guys really came here for, not any of my small talk yap during the intro. Right now, we are seeing Bitcoin pull back, right? I mean, we kind of had some weakness around New York Open yesterday. We had a very positive headline for MicroStrategy kind of right after the close, and now we're retracing that impulse. I think for Bitcoin specifically, the levels of like 88 to 90K probably need to be your bullish line in the sand for continuation, or else, you know, if we start to slip below that, and I will say, if we are going to slip below that, I think that would be something that you see occur into the end of the week, right? If we kind of slip below those levels, then it would be mimicking kind of these patterns that we tend to see in crypto before trend continuation, right? Where you get that super aggressive run at liquidity that kind of like fully ends up retracing rather quickly. And then that lower time frame, that mid time frame trend really heats up after we see these types of moves. So are we about to see that from Bitcoin and crypto here? Or are we going to see these levels kind of maintain, get held and consolidate here into the end of the week, which, you know, I think that would be probably more bullish than I said this on the call this morning, but I think that would ultimately be a more bullish scenario than a super impulsive squeeze higher. I know that's what everybody's looking for, especially now that everybody is kind of like a lower time frame perps trader. You know, we're all kind of farming all of these different perps dexes. I feel like the lower time frame commentary that you see on the market now is much more prevalent than it was in the past. So I know we're all looking for that impulsive long on crypto, but I think we need to also remember, you know, crypto has reached a point in its sentiment over the last few months where this is probably the worst that I can ever remember it. It might even be worse than the 2022 bear market. So expecting Bitcoin and crypto to hypothetically climb a wall of worry in just a week or 2 weeks, I think is probably the wrong way to approach it. You really need time, and what the space needs is time. And I know that's not what anybody wants to hear, but I do think if you're a bull, that's what you should be expecting, right? A slow grind back to the highs rather than an impulsive move higher. But again, at least in the short term, the battle needs to be won at 88 to 90K, or else the bears are still in control. But how are we doing, guys? What are we seeing in the markets? What are we thinking about everything that we're seeing across the board here from crypto, our much maligned crypto asset class, to the strength that we're seeing in equities?
Well, hello, guys. Tommy, you spoke about the worst sentiment, maybe, and I would say not maybe. I would say this is by far the worst crypto sentiment. But I think it's going to last a little bit longer still, as I said before. And I don't see that changing anytime soon, unfortunately, as much as we would all want that. I think it's far worse than in 2022. Not even close. I would say it's like far worse, because in 2021 we had, that amazing alt season, right? Like there was a bear market, but compared to the current one, it didn't last that long. There was a excitement in 2020, 21, and yes, 2022 was bad, but it was quick. If you think about it, most of these alts are wrecked since 2021. There was nothing. It's just exhaustion, and so people are feeling it, to the core. So, but just because this, we discussed this already, like a few months ago. The thing is that just because sentiment is bad doesn't mean the prices will go up, unfortunately. I wish that would be the case. But yeah, we are stuck. We discussed this before, guys. Like crypto was supposed to be up long ago. It diverged from all macro assets in Q4. Maybe 10 scammery made it happen. Who knows? But that's the world we live in.
Yeah, I'm still watching the farmer's prediction chart from 150 years ago. That's just kind of what I'm going off of.
Isn't 2026 bullish on that chart? Or am I making that up?
Yeah, it is.
Mark a top.
Okay.
Whatever that means. Hopefully that doesn't mean, all right, January 1st, top is in.
Yeah. I mean, equities look pretty constructive to me. But I think also, if we've learned anything from the past year, it's that crypto doesn't have to follow equities like you would have expected in the past. Maybe that's, there's too much crime. Maybe there was too much dilution. Maybe the president screwed us all. I don't know. Pick your headline. But yeah, just because there was a pretty strong correlation, or there has been in the past, doesn't mean that it has to continue. But I also think it's 7 days into the new year, and I don't know if right now is exactly the best time to be proclaiming a 12-month bias or even like a multi-quarter bias. 7 days into the new year, I think it's it's certainly possible we pick a direction early. We've seen that happen, but I'm kind of playing it day by day. But I do think it's definitely important to see majors follow through, especially given the altcoin pumps that we saw over the past week. I think if we don't see majors follow through here over the next 7 to 10 days, then we might be in for some downside. But I'm not really viewing this as like a place to imminently panic and start drawing fractals to zero. But I'm pretty flexible, right? Like I'm just kind of following my systems. The Bitcoin system I can show you guys later in the show. It took an early year long for me. It closed that out in profit late last night. It doesn't mean it's going to zero. It doesn't mean it's even going to be short or anything. It's just it just shaves some profit. So kind of back to neutral and just watching and waiting on Bitcoin. ETH system is still long, which is good. I think that ETH generally looks better than Bitcoin if I had to pick between the two. I think that ETH dominance is trying to tell us something. But yeah, we'll get into all that here shortly.
Yeah, I think here locally speaking, we find out pretty quickly if we actually have any demand left in this asset class, or whether or not it was just short covering and short squeeze rally that we had. It's pretty big inflection point. We've seen. I mean, we saw yesterday, right? Equities were green, crypto largely down. I mean, if you look at the total ES chart, right, we were down 2%. So the index for crypto is down 2%. Again, today, we're seeing equities pretty much flat. I mean, it's not like a big down day, right? ES and NQ are green, while Russell and Dow are slightly red. So going to find out really soon if there's any demand left in this asset class, and whether or not that was just kind of like short squeeze that we just had.
Do you think there is some demand left in this asset class?
I
Or just
think,
rotations from the survivors.
yeah, and I think that's kind of what we saw on chain, like especially over this last kind of 2-3 days. It's the people that are left, like you said, pushing around their liquidity from kind of name to name at this point. Now, I look at majors, I still think that there's demand for select few names within this ecosystem, like Hyperliquid being one of them. We look at, and that's more so like high time frame demand. I wouldn't say that it's like necessarily leading to or going to lead to significant flows within the market. There needs to be a reason for people to buy crypto again, and until we get until the market sees that, I think that a lot of people are pretty scared.
Do you know what stocks have that crypto doesn't?
Passive
Everything.
flows.
Go on. Give me your best one first.
They have everything. They have everything. We have nothing. That's the answer.
Well, first of all, they have boomers bidding, right? Like,
dude, the
try to get
boomers have
better.
so much money. It's crazy. They just keep bidding. All they do
Try
is bid.
Try to get a better perma bid than the boomers, but and there is more that stocks have than crypto. But I think generally speaking, they have stocks that are always like uncorrelated, unless like the extreme cases of a recession. Even if you have stocks in general that can go down, you still have many that go up, or vice versa, and there is always something exciting about them. The problem with crypto, and maybe apart from like Monero and few other privacy coins, when one thing goes down, everything goes down, and then you have like very small brief period where after a massive sell-off in November, BTC goes to range highs, and alts use that after a relentless bleed. Until this point, they use it for like 4 days to pump shit up and then back to bleeding, most likely. And everyone's tired of that. People need to have stuff to bid and believe. Like imagine, and you can decide the ticker, what it would be, it doesn't matter. But imagine even if BTC looked bad right now, but there would be 10 other tickers that you could bid, and they would be no one, I believe no one at this point wants stuff to just pump, straight to Valhalla. I mean, that would be nice, right? Too. But like steady up. That's what stocks have. Crypto doesn't. And that's one issue.
It is an issue.
Tommy's getting
the real
attacked.
problem with crypto is that it's completely uninvestable, where there's a much greater incentive for people to sell into every given move rather than continually DCA and build bigger positions, which is what boomers have. So it's a completely uninvestable asset class. I don't even think you can, at this point, just DCA mindlessly into Bitcoin without there being tremendous risk, right? That's the problem, is like, I mean, maybe Bitcoin, right? Maybe ETH, maybe Bitcoin. The rest of it, it's like take advantage of any given pump and just yeet right into it. Like that's crypto. With equities, it's like, oh, my Nvidia is pumping, I'm going to buy more. Oh, it's pumping again, I'm going to buy more. Oh, RSI's at 80, good time to buy more. It's a highly investable asset, or like asset class, equities. Crypto, it's the antithesis of that. That's the problem, is you can't build a long-term portfolio in crypto because it's a piece of steaming garbage.
Well, nobody knows what to buy. I mean, even Bitcoin has these, FUD over micro strategy having to sell coins, a lot of debt finance buyers. I think it is fair to question, like, all right, who is the next marginal buyer for Bitcoin? If I think it's easier for me to ironically find a marginal buyer for Bitcoin if we go higher, because I know that these TCOs will then be able to kind of like reload the same way that they were buying, in the first half of the year. But I think it is like asset selection is the hardest thing about crypto right now. It's like, oh, I want a long, but beyond a momentum, a short-term momentum play, what do you long? Because there are so many damn coins. And I saw Thread Guy talking about this week. He's like, yeah, what this market needs is more good coins. And I'm thinking to myself, are you serious right now? The one thing we don't need is more coins.
Yeah.
That we don't need more coins. We have plenty of good assets in the space, but people, it really kind of goes back to that whole like syndrome that people had starting in 2024, where it's just like chasing in the higher beta plays, because you have to be able to make it if you're investing in crypto right now, right? And you're only going to get that through higher and higher beta, because most of these assets are trading at ridiculous valuations. So, I mean, I know there will be a handful of things that kind of break that mold at some point, but yeah, I think the uninvestability of crypto largely comes from the fact that people don't know what to buy. Like if I were to go to a normie friend and say, and ask him what crypto to buy, it's going to vary from person to person to person to person. And we don't have the liquidity or the flows like boomer markets do to be able to back up having so many assets that people think is the future of finance.
Future of finance.
But I think that can change. I do think that can change. I mean, for one, that starts with not retracing this whole yearly open pump, for one. But I think if you can continue just like climbing the wall of worry and slow grinding higher, at the very least, Bitcoin and ETH are going to be assets that I think would do very well, hyper liquid as well.
Yeah, I think you hit a great point there, Tommy, where, I mean, you said people don't know what to buy. I think this asset class continues to have a lot of promise for the future. It doesn't feel like that right now to a lot of people, and it doesn't look like that right now on the charts, that's for sure. But I do think there's a lot of innovation to be had, and the market just kind of needs to be reassured in a way that there is, there's one, price stability. I think that's kind of been the most worrisome thing for a lot of investors and for really forever in regards to this asset class, is the amount of volatility is quite a turnoff for quite a bit of people. And if you can get some form of price stability, or at least some form of broader correlation to the equity markets, then people are a lot more kind of not infatuated, but like people are a lot more or less adverse to investing in this asset class. And then you can kind of start talking passive flows. You can kind of start talking like indexing. You can kind of start talking people using it as a way to get more like higher risk investors into, or their more higher risk investor bucket or class into, something with a little bit more volatility. And it would definitely be this asset class. I really remain on the fence. Like, you locally cannot be like, if you, like you said, Tommy, if you lose 89K, like it is, we're probably going to be going to new lows. It's kind of evil price action, honestly. Like, we broke out of a 7-week, value area high, and they gave you like 24 hours of dopamine, and then they said, all right, we're going to run this thing back. And kind of like death would be acceptance back within the range, or then, rotational back down to range lows. I mentioned this in the morning call. We had a big player step in at the lows at 86 and just start swapping this market heavily. Like, we saw massive absorption. And if their position starts to get pressured, you have a big player that's going to be unwinding that position into the market, on top of there then being forced sellers. So 86K is a pretty vulnerable spot. But as of right now, we're kind of at a line in the sand for me, locally speaking. I've been saying high time frame. I still think we're cooked. But we will see what happens, man. And I look at charts, interestingly enough, like you mentioned financials. If I look at charts, I see we don't have a chart up. Let me screen share for the audience here. I see a chart like Chevron, and that chart looks so good. So good. Like, high time frame bull flag pattern. textbook bull flag pattern. Looks like it's about to break out to the upside. Financials leading as well. We're looking at, JP Morgan, Bank of America, yada yada yada. The kind of list goes on and on and on there. Even if we look at names like MasterCard and Visa, man, looks fantastic, right? What about the neobanks like SoFi? Chart looks freaking bullish. List kind of goes on and on across the board. I know we were talking about regional banks on Spaces the other day, KRE. This, interestingly enough, looks pretty similar to the commodity trade right now, where you're kind of getting this, grind up, higher lows getting set in, compression into the highs. This thing breaks out, like regional banks break out. You think there would be ample liquidity in the system. You think that cost of capital would be pretty cheap. There would be a lot of stability from an economic perspective. So kind of see what this has in store for us.
The oil companies, they look so damn good, man.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I spoke about before. Like, this is what stocks have compared to crypto. And like in crypto, when BTC goes down, everything goes down. Then there are these brief periods of windows when shit pumps and then gets faded. But in stocks, I myself am positioned defensively now in many of these oil companies. And even if the stock market would do bad here, the oil companies will probably do really well, right? And you always have these options within the stock market, and you don't get it here. And the problem is that we knew this like 4 years ago, but nothing has changed since then.
I'm so bullish on US equities right now. Like so bullish. It's just crazy to me that crypto is still the black sheep of the market right now. I really don't think that you're about to see equities have some like 2022 style reverse. I know the sentiment is like, all right, crypto's leading equity markets, but I don't really think there's a lot of precedent for that. Or at least like in relationship to 2022, like the things that caused the equity market to sell off in 2021 and 2022, those things are not happening right now. Like yields are not going higher, seemingly. The dollar is not about to seemingly maraud higher, again, unless we get some like freak tail event, which I will say, like, I think that I said this on the morning call. I think USD JPY is really going to paint the next direction for markets because we're threatening a breakout from a 40-year range. 40-year range on a pair that has largely been like the linchpin for market liquidity for a really long time. You have to take note of something like that. Is that going to be, is that just going to cause the market to completely immolate, or is that going to cause us to melt up later this year? I don't know, right? I think it depends on the context, as with like any Forex move. But yeah, I mean, it has like USD JPY higher has correlated to market upside throughout this market cycle, right? Since the 2022 lows. So I have to think, if I think USD JPY is going to be breaking higher, it will be a positive for risk assets. And we're seeing it like play out with the S&P. For the record, we're just not seeing it with crypto.
The infamous old story.
I know. Brutal.
I don't think we will get
Sorry, go ahead.
like a 2022 type of recession, but I think that stocks have some room for a decent correction to like pre-tariff highs.
I'd be a little surprised if we got it. I'm gonna be honest.
This is always a really good chart. Sorry, Tommy, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I feel like equities are pre-parabola right now.
Yeah, it's tough to look at the VIX right now for me and be super bearish. Something I also like to look at, and I know you know about this chart too, Jackus. It's ticker S5TH. It's the S&P stocks above their 500-day moving average, right? When you get in discount region, usually it's good buying opportunity. Generally speaking, once you get up kind of like 78 to 80, right? Generally good selling opportunity. Kind of somewhere up in this region. We're kind of hovering in the middle right now. I mean, you can view this as a high time frame oscillator for the audience. You know, it's essentially an oscillator. And we're not necessarily into historically overbought levels as of right now in regards to the broader index being above their 200-day moving averages. But at the same time, that could potentially as well be attributed to a lot of companies have just been, we saw, or what we're potentially seeing is a little bit of skew in the data. And what I mean by that is this is right from like 200-day moving average. A lot of companies saw massive inflows and massive appreciation due to liquidity coming out of COVID. And because of that, right, they are now, you know, they've obviously pulled back as we've seen them, you know, saw new valuations. And so they're kind of like sitting, you know, for the most part underneath their 200 days as of right now. So this is potentially a little bit skewed, but yeah, it's a tough spot. It's a really tough spot because there's just, and I've been saying this for the past like 3 weeks, there's massive disjointment in the markets. Like if you look at like coming out of COVID, or you look at like 2018, excuse me, there was generally this kind of like up only consensus. And it wasn't even like necessarily like, oh, fade the consensus trade. It was just like, things are good. Like, let's just freaking bid, you know? And as of right now, they're really not sure. Like people are really not sure, you know, cost of living is increased pretty substantially, almost exponentially actually. And, you know, people are kind of worried about their dollar, their, you know, income isn't necessarily keeping up with the rate at which cost of living is increasing. You know, we look at the current administration with Trump, people are like, what is he going to say next? And so I just look at kind of the VIX and volatility, and it's, you know, one of these things, if we break down from this trend, I'm like, did we not enter into like a, you know, 12-month, if not longer, you know, compressionary period for the VIX and volatility, or at least for a few months, you would think. Not even a few months, like a few quarters. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's just, it's a really weird market to trade, you know? Looking at, I mean, BTC looks horrendous. Again, then we just jump over to kind of some of the other names, right? Made cap tech looking pretty decent today, except for Meta. It's interesting.
Intel, the new semiconductor proxy for the States. I just don't know if there's going to be anything that stops the equity market train. I know, like, I know, again, people are going to keep pointing to the idea that like crypto is leading equity markets, but I'll keep pointing to the fact that we've never seen a divergence last this long between equities and crypto. As far as like that crypto goes first to the downside and then equities catch up, even in 2021 to 2022, that took about, I think, 6 to 7 weeks. And we're well over 3 months now at this point. So, or we are like right at 3 months at this point. So I don't really think that equities are lagging crypto. I think that it's for a lot of the reasons that we've stated, crypto is kind of viewed as like this almost uninvestable asset class, especially when you have small cap stocks like a SanDisk, for example, doing what you would usually expect altcoins to do without any of the funny business that crypto is kind of giving you, both on a lower and higher time frame right now. So I wouldn't really be super likely or probable to me that equities just melt up and crypto enters like this sustained bear market. But you know, we have to trade the charts at the end of the day, right?
Indeed. Do you guys know that it's insane, but Bitcoin has underperformed most semiconductors since 2017?
Wait, what has?
Bitcoin has outperformed most semiconductors, you said?
Bitcoin has underperformed most semiconductors since 2017.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or like
Not
it's
really
been,
surprised by that.
or like it's been in a range since then, but right now it's at the lower part of the range.
Just blow off financials and the economy and then sell everything off together. I don't know. I'm still hopeful that crypto will rebound and recover from here, but I do think I mean, Prometheus already touched on it. You have to hold 88, 89, 90K, whatever level you want, kind of in that vicinity. It has to hold, or else, yeah, you probably are still looking at sustained downtrend from crypto, and it really doesn't matter what equities are going to do. But again, the context of kind of where I view equity markets with financials melting higher, again, like I would be so surprised to see crypto continue the divergence between U.S. equities, because it's like Bitcoin. I was watching a great video by Capital Flows yesterday. It was really talking about how kind of like real rates. I mean, macro liquidity shrunk a little bit during the period that I was talking about last year, end of Q3, early Q4. Real rates went a little bit higher, and Bitcoin pulled back like 35 to 40%. So if these things are going to continue to cause Bitcoin to pull back, you know, I don't know. Do I really think that the divergence between Bitcoin and equities is going to continue to grow?
Can we look at like total paired against SPX? See what that looks like.
I'm scared.
Oh my.
Oh,
Looks like Sui.
oh.
That actually looks like the Sui chart before I won't say it.
Dude, look at that. Right to the tick.
Is that total?
The best
Total
time
yes
to
divided by SPX.
the best time to look at not this the best time to not look at this chart was immediately after putting in on. The second best time is deleting this chart right now.
Looks fucking horrible.
Oh no.
Well,
GG.
one solid weekly meat stick could change everything, but definitely has some work to do.
Jeez.
I just don't see like yes, I agree, right? But like the premise behind that is hope. In reality, this chart is most likely going to that range low from 21.
Yeah.
And I don't think it will be by strength of SPX necessarily. Rather a weakness of this space.
Or both.
But look at this chart, right? Look at 10 stands. The market was primed. 10 stands, the market was primed before that.
It was.
You just got scammed. The secret ingredient is crime.
They sign up into holding worthless internet coins for the greatest equities melt up of all time. I hope that's not the case, by the way, but it might.
I just realized that I have to cut the number 5 and put 6 years. I read some comment earlier that like, oh, this sentiment is so bad. Like this is exactly what bottoms are made of. But like, brother, yes. I hope, first of all, I hope the sentiment helps for the bottom to be in. Second, the problem is that this sentiment has been going on for like one year, I would say. Mainly results. Like I've seen people a year ago leaving the space that they've been in since 2017, saying that they are basically LARPs and they cannot go with it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say that's a good thing, maybe.
But
People
it
just
happened a
kind of
year ago,
leaving
and
and giving up.
yeah,
Feels
yeah, but
like
that
despair.
already happened like a year ago, and nothing's changed. It's not like, they left, the sentiment was this bad, and then the market pumped, is what I'm saying. So, like, I'm saying it's definitely better than not that people are leaving. I'm just saying it doesn't mean that we will basically moon straight up from here because of that sentiment. I hope we do, but
Yeah.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
I said at the beginning of the show, I don't, I think climbing the wall of worry for crypto, if that's going to be something that we can still see, it's going to be a more slow and progressive thing, I think, than impulsively squeezing higher, because I know people on a general basis are probably underallocated to crypto now, but this is also the black sheep of investing right now, at least among small caps. So I think you do need to take that into account as well. Like, people aren't just going to flip on a dime and say, like, yeah, crypto's cool again. Prices need to progressively grind higher against that sentiment, and then you get the impulsive move up.
Yeah. I'm still cautiously optimistic here, I will say.
I envy you that.
Huh?
I envy you that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of big stuff on Friday, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
You got to use the bin filter, Prometheus. Too much noise.
Yeah. Still getting used to her. Where is she?
Up. Nope. Up. Right there. Yeah. Standard deviation, put it to 1. So much cleaner. Shows you the levels you need to know.
I think Dorito here's got a big point that I've also been saying, that there crypto needs to make outsized returns, or at least steadily go up with the rest. But why would you hold something that gives you smaller returns than the stock market but has 10 times bigger risk?
Because you're sick in the head. That's why.
That's a good reason. You know what's insane too? The number of viewers. We had I just have to laugh at this, because yesterday when or the past week, when, or since the beginning of the new year, right? When prices were going up, there was 50 more viewers. And today when markets dropped, 50 less.
Yeah. It's super real.
Fair weather.
Yeah, it's okay. What is the Russell doing today?
It's
Probably
flat.
going up. Yeah.
I mean, that looks pretty good, right?
It looks so good. It looks so good.
Can you put exactly beneath this chart that you have it like this? Can you put ETH down below?
Yes.
Pushed ETH.
Yeah, I got you. Get out of here. Oh.
What?
I need to get a new mouse. My mouse double clicks. It's an old one.
We got rugged, man. Look at that. We got rugged. We deserve to go higher with the Russell. We got rugged.
Straight up rugged. Imagine if ETH was right now at 5K.
I can't imagine. I would have a lot more money.
It's pretty nasty divergence.
Very nasty.
What does ETH against the Russell look like? If we looked at the pair, that could be interesting.
I'm still blaming 10 stance. Just look at it. Just look at the East chart before the 10 stance candle. Like that was a clean retest that we got there.
Do we sweep all those highs and just yeet?
Yeah. You know what's the most disgusting one is the Binance chart. We swept the high by 5 ticks. Or not 5 ticks, $5.
Dude.
Look at
That's
that.
what I'm talking about, man. People are way more motivated to just like sell every attempted push higher than to hold.
Can you blame them?
No. I can't.
And the interesting thing is if you look at the other charts, you didn't get, I think, like if you look at the
I just
Coinbase
remember
one,
in like 2020 and 2021, like if something was pumping, people were doubling down. You know? You're up 2x, double your size. Now it's like, oh, you're up 2x, full stack. It's different.
Yeah, I still remain optimistic that this chart essentially, whenever it's done ranging, will go up again. But like, again, just can you delete everything, Prometheus? Can you delete everything up to 10 stance on the weekly here?
leading up to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Up to 10 stance. Yeah. Like, yeah. You know, market was bullish, 10 stance. See ya.
Why I thought it was nice is because this retest. I
That
saw this
looked
retest.
so good at the time. Like that drop
Yeah.
and reclaim, that looked
Yeah.
so good right there. I still think the right move was to like be caught, like be bullish after that, like drop and quick reclaim.
Yeah.
That is a textbook like PO3 into an all-time high break right there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, you can't ignore the structure, right?
And then just
Yeah.
zero.
I look back and I'm like, yeah, it was the right choice. And we were looking good. The space was primed. IWM confirming till this day, by the way. But yeah, 10 stance, something happened. And then it's just straight up rug pull for the space. You know, crypto since then deviated from all macro assets. And as you pointed out, Tommy, never for this long. Like we had FTX, that was a space deviation compared to other asset classes as well, you know, but that lasted about 1 to 2 months. I think it was December and I think it was end of November and December, so like a 1 month and a half FTX. But then the prices quickly reclaimed higher and started to go up, at least for BTC. But this time, you know, they've never deviated for so long.
SPX 6900 fix this.
I could go with this excuse. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's for real.
I will say SPX 6900 is kind of cooked now that the SPX itself is actually above 6900.
Is that bearish?
That's my opinion. Like, I don't know why would you buy SPX 6900 when the SPX is already at 6900?
Because it's going to flip the stock market and there's no chart.
Dude, look at total 3ES. You can't, there's no bar replay on this, unfortunately. But
I think you can do replay here if you click it again.
No, it says.
Oh, I see.
No, leading up to this, I mean, this looks like to me very similarly to silver in a way, right? Where look at all these lows getting protected on the way up, right? Or you did flush some liquidity out there, right? But we're like ramping. Buyers protect here. Looks good. And then, oh, we're going for it, right? Putting in really nice structure, compressing up at the highs. Bitcoin's at new all-time highs, like you're expecting, right? Altcoins to have some big catch up, or you're expecting for them to, see some big expansionary move, right? Because altcoins generally only do something when Bitcoin's in price discovery, and then boom, everybody and their mom just got liquidated.
No,
Yeah.
my mom hit the short. She didn't get liquidated.
But did she hit it like 1 hour before the drop happened, like some insider
She
has?
did. She was the hyper liquid insider.
Yeah.
My mom, it was her first trade ever, which was sweet.
Maybe she is going to become the legend as Nancy Pelosi has.
Oh gosh.
So people are saying. I mean, someone has to fill those shoes. When there's an empty soapbox, somebody stands up.
Yeah, that's true, Dorito. We got no closure on the 10 stance till today.
Wait,
I think we kind of know what happened though. Like there were some threads on X about like market makers unable to place orders or something. So they basically just like couldn't place orders. So then they pulled all of their current orders.
They pulled their liquidity. They're not market makers. They're extractors.
So there was literally like no liquidity in the books at all, like zero.
Yeah.
Like everything
not
just
market
like
makers.
everything crashed to zero. But
yes,
everybody
I don't know like all the details.
Probably got blown up. Like all of these market neutral, delta neutral strategies get blown the fuck up.
Yeah, because it's like a 9 sigma, 10 sigma move. Like nobody, even if you're quote unquote delta neutral, like nobody is positioned for that.
Did you say delta neutral?
I did.
That still tells you, by the way, that all of the strategies like this, they always work until they don't.
Yep.
Like people had a strategy to buy on the Monday open and close by Monday launch, and it worked for multiple years until the fund got liquidated doing that. And it once again goes to the fact that the only way is really buying quality stuff at logical levels on spot mostly, because even 2x leverage got liquidated on 10 stance.
Thanksgiving turkey. That's what happened to a lot of people. Never overestimate the competency of your counterparty.
Well, let's hope that this sentiment flips it and we are bullish next month. Just like we scam down, hopefully we scam up again. And we can have more joyful times again in the space.
So, Kawanda Whale, I just slaughtered your name. I'm sorry. No, I mean a market maker is supposed to provide liquidity no matter what's going on in the market. And if they're pulling liquidity, right? If a market maker is no longer providing said liquidity to the market, they are not a market maker. They are just, right? That's not what a market maker is. So I mean, then that then that puts like winter mute in kind of the whole bucket, or the whole market maker, crypto market maker bucket together into one basket, and that's essentially just extraction. So, I mean, it just is what it is. Something that I'm looking at is stablecoin dominance on the high time frame, like especially if you look at it on the weekly. We are very, very, very much so in an uptrend now. You know, there's literally no other way you can put it, right? Stablecoin dominance is in an uptrend. We've confirmed that now, and you know, high time frame, we should be expecting lower prices, in my opinion. I was expecting a little bit more of a pullback. I still kind of am, as long as we don't accept back within the range. I think, you know, if you start closing below like 91.5, it's pretty telling at this point, which we're like right at. So we'll see what today we'll see what today does. But this is obviously a chart I touch on quite a bit. If you guys watch the YouTube videos that I do on Fridays, this is a chart I post or bring up almost every single time, because it's great for, you know, understanding high time frame trend in regards to the market. There can be a lot of noise in individual pairs, but if you kind of look at this overall chart, you know, it gives you a great sense of directionality. Man. Yeah, just high time frame uptrend for me on stablecoin dominance. And like I said, I expect further pullback here within this. I'd be pretty shocked if you go for it now. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at the localized highs here on stablecoin dominance, it is very much so looking as if we are in a heavy, or that was a heavy supply region. So you'd expect for some form of like reaccumulation on this pair, or you look for some form of distribution, localized distribution in regards to individual names like BTC or Ether Sol. So yeah, long wicks kind of telling that this is, in my opinion, you know, showing more localized distribution. We'll see what happens. I just hope we don't get another like 4 weeks of crab, man. Like give me some trend, give me some trend within this market. Give me some, you know, something to actually play where I'm not having to hit these like, you know, 24-hour rotations. It's pretty hideous.
It is.
I was discussing the stablecoin dominance chart on Monday, and it just looks it just looks like the trend is starting.
Yeah, like the big move. I agree. I think you get like one of these, like you can see, and then straight up into here.
For the market to get bullish, you truly do need to start closing below that line on the weekly.
Yeah, we'll see if we get it. Yes, I know this is something you've been watching. It's this is the hidden alpha chart, in my opinion, for the market. Like if I'm ever confused on directionality, I just come over to this chart, and I think it's like the waypoint, in my opinion, for directionality to understand, you know, what it is and where we're going. So yeah, like you said, like as long as we don't close below this level, you know, we're probably not going to be seeing, you know, that 100K mark that I know a lot of people were looking at. I was kind of expecting 100K. I was actually kind of expecting a little bit more than 100K. And the reason why I say that is we would be getting a lot of positioning to jump back into the market. A lot of liquidity would be, you know, running back into the market if we get above 100K. And understanding like high time frame trend, I think then that would, at least in stablecoin dominance, rise to the upside. That would then allow for, you know, kind of more fuel for lower prices, really. But I mean, if there's just no bid in the market, there's just no bid. Like, you know, so that's kind of my thought.
It can still come. I mean, look, we have a very important set of data coming on Friday, and when do you know when We find when is FOMC this month?
The 18th.
Probably later stage. I would
I
imagine,
think it's the
like last days.
3rd. January 20. Wait, no, that's not right.
Because I was listening. Capital Flows had a really good video out yesterday. Usually, I feel like he's very like verbose in a way that you can't really get a lot of information out of what he puts
Yes.
out publicly. But this time, I felt like it was a little bit different. All right, he was basically saying if they start to price more rate cuts into the front of the curve, you should be expecting Bitcoin to pump, and this divergence between equities and Bitcoin will close, but probably not if we don't see that. This divergence can continue to maintain if that's the case, regardless of what equity markets are going to do. I still think like I'm kind of surprised we haven't talked about it yet, but like the most bullish case for me, at least as it relates to stocks, is USD/JPY. Because we're about to break out of a 40-year range. 40 years. That's like a once in a lifetime type of breakout from a Forex pair that when you factor in that this is like the linchpin for market liquidity, what does it move? And the question is not like whether or not this is going to break out, because I do feel it pretty strongly at this point that it is. The question is, what is the market going to do? What is risk going to do? And if this is going to break out higher? Based on the way that we have traded since the bear market lows, the market should move higher, right? Like that is kind of my base case, but it is contextual, right? I mean, if there's something that fundamentally destroys the value of the yen, then that, I guess, would in theory be very bearish. But right now, I mean, this pair to me looks like it is going to send aggressively higher.
Now, what if the yen is just unnaturally weak, right? Even though it's already a pretty weak currency.
Obviously, I think we know what to speculate on if there would be the cause of that.
Yeah, but like, what if like the yen's weak and the dollar's weak, right?
It's both. I think both will be weak. From my understanding, if both are weak and the dollar is not just like completely immolating lower, that will, like, just the correlation with the dollar will continue to be positive for risk assets. As in, like, the negative correlation with the dollar will be a positive for risk assets.
Yes. Yeah.
But I do think, there's a limit to how much they can weaken the dollar at the same time. They're clearly trying. I know everybody said they want a weak dollar, but I feel like the actions that we're seeing geopolitically by the current administration are kind of doing the opposite, right? Like trying to seize, are trying to buy Greenland now as a new shipping route. Oil, I know that we are getting technically the price of oil to come down. I'm going to speculate that oil is going to go higher this year. I mean, a few of my teammates have already touched on it in this space, but these oil companies look ready to send higher. And I think crude oil is probably going to move higher from here. Eventually, we're going to see another attack on Iran, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's one of the most, in my opinion, safest bets you can do for the next year or two. And I would say I am as bullish on the oil companies as I was on silver the past years. I think that's a huge asymmetric bet towards the market versus having. And you can debate the size of the allocation, but I think everyone should have some.
I agree.
By the way, FOMC is on January 28th.
It's a long way away.
Yeah. And then CPI is January 13th, so that's not that far away. And this week we have an unemployment rate on Friday, plus the tariff ruling from the court. Will be an exciting Friday, I suppose, this week.
Tariff ruling is going to be important.
Yeah.
If that's a nothing burger, in my opinion, the market should rip off that. At least equities will.
I don't think they will rule it out.
You mean that you don't think they're going to rule it unconstitutional?
I don't know. It's it could go either way, but I think like Trump will make sure that it goes through. But they might do some like if they want to, they'll do some like uncertainty about it, right? To kind of cause that market correction, perhaps, and then be like, no, it goes in anyway. Like, do you remember how they played it with tariffs in Q1 last year, right? Like, tariff this, tariff that. Nobody knew what it is, how it's calculated, all of that. And then he said, well, 90-day pause.
True. I do remember that.
So, you know,
they front load everything happening at once so that when things do actually happen, nobody cares. So they just assume nothing's going to happen. I'm going to keep speculating. Like 2026 to 2028 is going to be the period where everything happens. Total Chud Jack death is coming.
all right.
I do think it will be positive initially for equities. And I have to assume crypto too. I'm going to keep saying that, but that's not guaranteed. I think everything is going to happen. It will initially be very positive, and then it will be very bad. And you're just going to have Chud Jacks screaming the whole way down. Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. I'm buying the dip, and they're just going to get ravaged.
What if ruling tariffs unconstitutional is bullish for the markets? Because the markets reacted to tariffs, obviously, very, very, very harshly and poorly, right? What if that, like freeing of global trade and hopefully reduction of global tensions is what the market, or is how the market digests everything? And what if we pump?
We would have to refund a lot of revenue, though. I don't know if the market cares about that, but
does the market care about anything?
That's a good point, Jackus. It kind of goes back to the whole like have everything happen all at once.
Yeah.
Have everything happen all at once so that the market's like numb when things do happen. I feel like that's kind of been like why equities have been so resilient over the last 6 months. What were you saying, Prometheus? Sorry to cut you off.
What if they rule them unconstitutional and then Trump ends up saying like F you and not refunding anybody? It's like, thanks for the money,
be
bitch.
Like sending you to Gulag, bitch.
Thanks for your money, bitch.
Right, that's...
He's like, well, they were constitutional for 7 months, so...
Tough.
Yeah.
Tough. I think this is a good point. They'll just keep moving the goalposts until they can't do it anymore. I will say, I said this on the morning call today. I think it's a very like pertinent point. Republicans right now have about a 22% chance of winning the House in later this year. Trump said if they lose the House, he's going to get impeached. So everybody's been calling it a national security issue for equities to remain elevated. It's a Trump security issue if they don't remain elevated. So to that extent, like, they're going to be pulling every lever imaginable to keep equities elevated in the midterms, if not outright send them hot, like just giga send them higher. And I do think that it was a fairly notable statement to make. Because if anything, they've shown us that they are watching the approval ratings and they are listening to, when the approval ratings start to slip with the market, they respond. And Jack has already pointed it out, right? Like they did the exact same thing in April when they said, 90-day pause on tariffs. Like, I almost feel like equities are just going to keep moving higher until something forces them to break. And I don't think we're at the point where that's going to happen yet. But it kind of goes back to the chud jacking, right? Like everything's going to happen at once. It's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming.
That name, I love that name. What is going on with my trading view? Well, just closed out of all my tabs.
It's over.
Yeah. Dude, what do you guys make of this pattern? I see this pattern all the time on shitcoins where you get this bullish candle, right? You then get this long like hammer candle, and then the following candle we reverse back down into that sell side. And generally this is a topping structure I see all
It is, yeah.
the freaking time on shitcoins.
You don't think we got one more squeeze above these highs, even if it is a topping structure? Because I kind of do.
I think what's
I don't know at this
what's
point.
confusing you is the total versus Bitcoin. Like, if you're gonna look at total and you're gonna look at BTC, it's no, not like together. I meant like if you're gonna look at the total,
okay,
just
yeah.
total, yeah,
On its own.
yeah, on its own. And then you are going to zoom in a little on like H4. Its topping structure is slightly different. So like you see that follow through on the total, but you don't see it on BTC. BTC just had that like sweep on Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah. Total had the one on Tuesday and BTC just the one on Monday. Babe, please stop shorting. It's not going down. Double top. Again, I think Prometheus. I agree that that structure is a lot seen at the tops. I think today's daily candle close will be important, plus the weekly. Will tell you. Tell you.
Dude, the weekly looks. Oh.
I haven't even looked. I'm sure it's just heinous. Oh yeah,
look at that, Tommy.
That's nasty. That's nasty.
Yeah. After you swept the December highs too.
Yeah, my view is the same. It's probably going to remain the same. I think equities are about to melt up. Crypto can partake if they want, but you know, it's like the SpongeBob and the Rock. You know, in the race, the snail race, Rocky ends up winning the race. It's like you can go when you feel like it, Rocky.
Yeah, I know which one you mean. It's a good one.
But yeah, I have pretty high conviction that equities are going a lot higher from here. So I've beat the drum though that because I think crypto asset selection is so cucked right now, deep out of the money calls on the S&P is like the most cost effective and best way to be long if you're looking for like market beta. Because either you're somebody who thinks that we're about to replicate like maybe I guess some delayed 2022 price action where we top at like maybe 7,200 and then sell off with crypto, or you know, we're just going higher on equities. I've said that way too many times on this show. I'm sorry, guys. It's just stocks are screaming melt up to me right now. Screaming.
Dude, look at defense stocks. They all just are.
My apologies.
For real. time in the market beats timing the market. That's true. Maybe not with crypto, except like Bitcoin and ETH. But like, you know what's crazy? So many coins are trading below their COVID lows now.
Rest in peace, Polkadot, man.
Rest in peace.
Rest in piss. Scam chain, extraction chain. Dude, there was so much crime on Polkadot in 2021. Snorlax remembers some of your favorite influencers on X showing you just complete garbage on Polkadot. I know who you are. I'm not going to say your name, and if you're watching, you know who you are. I remember they tried to show me Pokemon, and I was like, I'm brand new to crypto at that time. I was like, oh, a Pokemon. Obviously, I said, I like the Pokemon coin. It went down 99% in like weeks.
Oh no,
weeks. Every shitcoin they sold you on Polkadot was like an instant rug. Yeah, rest in piss, Polkadot.
Rest in peace. Oh man, but you can go on, and it's with so many, that look this way. It's crazy.
What's the one coin that literally went down to like 1 cent?
Atom.
Oh
Atom.
yeah,
Adam. I'd love if you look at Jewel after this.
It went to 1 micropenny. On Binance, it's at 0.001.
That is crazy,
dude.
GG.
Worst coin ever. That's saying a lot. Jeez.
Again, I have to repeat this. The bull market and alt season starts when delisting happens before that. Massive delisting season. And that's what's going to concentrate the capital again. And we can go.
The issue is these exchanges just make so much money from listing complete garbage, Jackus.
And they do.
It's just like the incentives are misaligned in crypto.
Also, if they delist, do they just force customer sales, or do they only allow for customers to sell if they're still holding that coin?
I think they force sell. Like you have X amount of time before it gets fully delisted.
Oh man.
I mean, that's what Robin.
Tommy, what's this Jewel ticker? So just Jewel?
You don't remember Jewel?
Oh
man, the original Ansem coin.
Is this it? Did it go to like 50 mil or something like that?
60 mil? Jewel went to like, it might have went to $1 billion or more, or multi-billion-dollar asset. Man, it was a really big coin, and everybody farmed it. But what ended up happening?
Oh, DeFi Kingdoms.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
What about the Bear chain?
Oh, that's
God.
They had a massive promotions filled with thousands of people live.
They did.
How did that work out?
I mean, I could have told you Barrett Chain was going straight down after TGE because they waited. There was hype about them ICOing in 2021 or 2022, and it just never happened. It just never happened because they only wanted to wait until good conditions to launch their coin, which they pretty much did. I mean, they almost completely missed the the window, it seems, but they did it. I do think they got it in the end, and they cashed out, right? But they were raising for years. At every crypto conference, you would see Barrett Chain team.
Dude, Dude, look at this systematic unwind that they had at the TGE highs. This is your classic VC structure, like classic VC structure. And the real question right now is Monad right here?
Can you put Monad on?
Yes.
Monad. You might want to use a separate window.
Yeah.
You know, like on the right side at the top, you know, when you can yeah.
Man. I mean, if Monad can't pump, if Lighter can't pump, that's pretty telling, to be honest.
It's crazy. Monad went below the listing price or the launch price.
Bad
As
coin.
fast as it did.
Bad coin.
I see what you see, Prometheus. So what it needs is 10 stance candle.
Oh yeah, right here. Yeah, putting in the structure right here. All right, what do you guys say we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think that's a good spot. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Hopefully our asset class decides to do something, anything, to show us that it's still breathing. But I suspect we'll see if it is, going to either, live or die. I suspect we'll know fairly soon, just based on the way that we're kind of trading right now. But we appreciate you guys, as always, for being here. We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Market Check. Like I said, a reminder that we do these shows Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, whenever the New York Stock Exchange is open. And our typical start time is around 11:30 a.m. 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you enjoyed the show, like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We'll see you again tomorrow and obviously Friday as we look to wrap up the week. But also make sure to tune in for Market Talk, hosted by the legendary King Wabi. That is an X Spaces hosted through the Because Bitcoin account, as well as, like I said, King Wabi. We have very invigorating discussions on those spaces. We had one yesterday. I felt like a very interesting space. So check that out, guys. We'll see which way the market goes here in the meantime. But if you are looking for some way to wrap up your day talking about markets, check out Market Talk later today and throughout the week with a typical start time around 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But thanks again, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow, hopefully. But until then, thank you again. And of course, stay safe.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal.